fly the orange and yellow and red flag, which is a course condition flag, to tell them that there may be something on the surface there they need to worry about. So the yellow is out here at Michigan International Speedway, and we're beginning to set up for what might be an incredible battle to the finish between Nigel Mansell and Mario Andretti. Floating over Michigan International Speedway, one of America's most enduring images, the Goodyear blimp hangs overhead today, keeping up with the cars on the track down below. We are under yellow, and Nigel Mansell and Mario Andretti's crews both have to be thinking about what they're going to do about possibly stopping again for just a splash of fuel. Yellow flag comes out because of Marco Greco having to blow an engine on the track. Now, IndyCar teams are constantly striving for more efficient downforce through aerodynamic advances. Some are introduced by the chassis manufacturers, while other individual teams by a different arrangement. Here's Jack.
In IndyCar racing, the creation of speed involves a compromise between the creation of drag and downforce. The bigger the speedway, the more important that compromise becomes. Now, the 1993 Lola chassis arrived from England with good downforce and good drag coefficients. But some teams have introduced these side fences to better accomplish the compromise. These side fences increase the overall downforce generated by the car as the air is routed through the side pods. It pushes the rear end of the car down, and the bigger the speedway, the better the stick. It also reduces the overall drag generated by that downforce because now the air is routed up and over the very wide slicks at the back of the car. In fact, drag is created for the most part in IndyCar racing by these big slick tires. Now, these modifications didn't come from the factory in England. In fact, it was an individual racing team that first came up with the idea. The Dick Simon racing team introduced these side fences to racing. And now, as you look at the field here at the Michigan 500, you find most of the Lola cars carry what we like to call Simon side fences.
All right, let's go pit side. A report on Raul Boesel. Here's Gary Gerould.
Of course, he's been soldiering with that bad clutch situation. He got away out of the pits last time with no problem, starting in second gear, then jamming it into first. Now they're going to bring him back in, Paul. Dick Simon says they were going to make a split-second decision. They want to top him off with fuel. It's still going to be very close as to whether or not he can get to the checkered flag on this load of fuel. He would have 40 laps to go, but every one of these yellow flag laps is going to help him immensely. So here's Raul now in, and not only will they go for fuel, they are going to change tires as well. So it's fresh sticker rubber. These tires are not scuffed. They made a big wing change, 1.5 turns the last time he was in. They're happy with that. Now they push vigorously. Second gear. He gets out of here in about 15 seconds. Let's go back to Jack.
Well, Paul, the brain trust here for Mario Andretti and Nigel Mansell, they have determined that in both cases, Newman Haas will pit to take a splash and go. Both cars are going to come in. There was a lot of conversation on the radio. Nigel requesting, should I or shouldn't I? They're going to play it not at all close to the vest. They're going to play it real conservatively. Come in because of the speed both cars have got, the cushion that they have. They're going to take the necessary fuel because there's still plenty in the tank. Don't worry about that.
Of course, they'll try and do it if they can under this yellow. You can see the PPG pace car ahead of Nigel Mansell. The lights are still flashing on the back, and that is an indication to the drivers behind the pace car that there is at least one more lap of yellow flag. Now, Nigel Mansell is going to peel off. Got to be very careful not to get past that pace car as he heads down into the pits and is going to pick up what should be the last fuel of the race. As the starter of the race says, on the next lap we will go the green flag, Jack.
Well, that's a good break. I mean, it's a problem, but remember, Nigel Mansell is at the tail end of the pit road. He's towards turn 1. He again has a problem getting the clutch engaged, but once he passes Arie Luyendyk's pit, he can come to full song. Meanwhile, Mario Andretti going down 1/2 turn on the front wing. He is off and away, so they've taken on the fuel. They're ready to go to the checker.
Well, as they'll line up, Nigel Mansell will be the leader of the race. Mario Andretti come out in second place. Teo Fabi comes in and gets a splash and go. You caught a glimpse of Bobby Rahal, who did the same. So everyone should theoretically, Bobby, be in proper position now to run all the way to the end of the race. We'll take a look at the running order right now.
I've just run my figures on it, Paul, and they can both go to the end of the race right now if they don't use any more than what they have in the past. Nigel and Mario both gone 38 and 39 laps respectively, and so they shouldn't have any problem. Believe me, they'll be close to out the end.
And so with this yellow, Mario has closed up, so he is going to come behind Nigel Mansell as they come back to the green flag, and green flag racing once again. The green is out. We're racing. Mario Andretti is going to do everything he can to close on his teammate. There's plenty of traffic right there. Mario is just behind Rahal. Willie T. Ribbs runs down low. Into the first corner. Mario selects a high line, comes around Ribbs, continues his pursuit of Mansell.
Traffic playing such a big part of this.
A look back from Al Unser Jr. Mario trying to close.
And remember, there isn't a driver out there that's going to make it easy on you.
Nigel Mansell setting up behind Raul Boesel, who at speed is very, very quick on this circuit. Boesel is fourth. Leyendijk is third.
Mansell had to get out of the throttle there as he came up behind Boesel. You see it's killed his momentum for a moment. Watch as he begins his counterattack.
This is the kind of thing that can cost Mansell in these closing laps of the race. Anytime he gets involved with traffic, he would love to get clear of all this so that he can deal with Mario on his own terms.
Do you mean the inexperience, Paul, because of not having run these high banks ever before, or the question of being blocked? Here comes Mario ripping by Rahal.
Simply the question of being blocked. I think inexperience is something that attaches to Nigel Mansell for about 3 laps and then forget it. He knows exactly what's going on.
You can see how close Mario came to Rahal when he was drafting him trying to get by, using everything that he could get, because they know they're going to have a shoot-off right at the end.
You speak of experience. This is Mario's 29th season, 385 starts. Just incredible. The next most experienced guy in this race is Bobby Rahal with just 74 starts.
I think it's so great that Mario started on the pole in the first race here 25 years ago and starts on the pole here today and is now in a shootout with his teammate for the lead of the Michigan 500.
And Newman Haas is running again 1-2 as they did when Michael and Mario were 1-2 here. There is Carl Haas, the architect of this team. And they succeeded back here in 1989.
You can see him counting. He's figured up everything he can figure himself right there. But remember, another thing, neither one of these guys really have enough fuel to go on down the road fast. They must keep them in their high gear. They've got to keep everything a little bit conservative because, according to my figures, they can only do about 39 laps compared to what they've done before.
Mansell overhauls Boesel, puts him another lap back. Mario Andretti won this race in '84. His son, Michael, won it in '89.
And Mario was second. It was a great super 1-2 for the family.
84, by the way, was the same race that had 15 cars finish, the most ever at the Michigan 500. There are 16 running now. Now Nigel handles up Robbie Gordon.
You know, he passed Robbie, and Robbie came right back by again. This is a problem sometimes late in the race. But again, there isn't a driver out there to give these guys any slack whatsoever just because they're leading the race. Everybody's cutting their own piece of cake right now.
And because of the splash and go, they ended up at the back of the field behind the pace car.
Oh, look at him come up on Emerson Fittipaldi. Robbie Gordon may be only 24 years old, and Nigel Mansell may be the world champion, but he isn't cutting him any slack here.
And the line that Robbie Gordon has been using, especially off of 4, he can't be more than 3 or 4 inches away from that wall.
Well, that's where all the dirty stuff is. Where you see the black stop and the gray start at the top of the track, that's where all the rubber and all the trash has been thrown up all day. So you got to really be careful getting out into that part of the track.
They're coming for 4 now. Mansell comes up, but not nearly as close to the wall as Robbie Gordon is capable. He comes around now. Al Unser Jr. lets him pass.
That's pretty easy there because that's a Chevrolet engine. The Fords are awesome fast compared to Chevys here in Michigan.
You see the interval now. Nigel Mansell to Mario Andretti. Still plenty of traffic for Mario.
The highest place Chevrolet is back in 6th place with Bobby, so it looks as if Ford's failure to win a 500-mile race is going to go by the board. I think they're going to win one here today.
So Mario Andretti continues his pursuit of his teammate. Nigel Mansell is about 3 seconds ahead of Mario Andretti. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Michigan International Speedway. Here yesterday, they ran the final round of the International Race of Champions as Mario Andretti continues to challenge on Raul Boesel, trying to get by so he can catch up to Nigel Mansell. But he is falling somewhat back from Nigel Mansell. Well, the International Race of Champions, taped here yesterday, is next. Great race, and the winner was... No, I wouldn't do that to you. Stay tuned, because there's racing here all afternoon and plenty of drama in the IROC coming up right after the Michigan 500. So Nigel Mansell is the leader. Mario Andretti is the key factor right now as he tries to catch up to Nigel. Mario is still having to handle traffic. Nigel, for the most part, has gotten through all of the traffic and is now beginning to inch away from Mario.
Well, Paul, Mario's not handling good. You watch him there, the right-hand side of the screen, well, a little red on top of it. He can't even handle Boesel. Boesel has come back by him, and you can notice that Mario's not making it good through the turns. So the adjustments that they did in that last pit stop were obviously the wrong way.
Mario pushing way up toward the gray on all of the corners now.
Well, Bobby, we noticed that on Mario's last pit stop, when the crew was adjusting the front wings, you saw him waving frantically from the cockpit. It's not impossible. You see him try. Boesel on the high line. No, that's a gutsy move by Mario.
Mario stays right in there in traffic, got up as close to the wall as I'm here to get.
Now, who would think you'd have this close to racing last?
Boy, that is really taking a deep breath.
Boesel got captured right on the bottom. Mario took a big risk going on top, and he made it.
Mario is about 8 seconds behind Mansell. He had to do that, or just forfeit the race. We have less than 15 minutes of racing to go. You see Carl Haas, he switched ends on the cigar there. Obviously, that's all he can do in terms of technical adjustment.
Roberto Guerrero comes in once again. Remember, he's been stopping the entire day off of the regular sequence, so this is really a routine stop for Roberto and will be the last in his race. Let's get an update now from Jack Arute.
Well, Paul, Mario is a 1 kg driver. Remember, we just saw that move where he split with Raul Boesel. In the drivers' meeting, they were discussing what lapped race traffic should do. Many of the drivers said, stay low. Mario raised his hand and said, I think it would be better if the lap traffic stayed in the middle groove. That way, if you're racing for position, one driver could go high, one driver could go low. In the case of Yogi Berra, maybe it was deja vu for Mario all over again.
Oh, boy. I think it's easy to talk about tactics and strategy, but it's quite another thing to execute a maneuver like Mario just did. I think in a sense, you know, he's fighting today for a bit of family honor. His son, Michael, has become an object almost of derision to the European press, elements of the U.S. press, too, and I think that Mario's pole position yesterday, and now this brilliant performance today, boy, it puts the Andretti name right up in the headlines again.
Here's Mario's move just a moment ago through traffic. We look at it once again.
That was really a calculated pass by Mario. A lot of luck. The drivers did go where he needed them to go. It looked like a pretty risky one to start with, though.
When you think over his long career, you know, how many chances like that he has taken, it is remarkable that this man, Mario Andretti, is still driving a racing car in one piece.
Mario was running laps while he was in traffic with Boesel and everyone else at 211 miles an hour. But now he is up running laps nearly the equal of Mansell. Mansell's just a tick over 223, and Mario is at 222.
We don't want it to happen, but just think of the race we would have if we do have another yellow for some reason, hopefully not an accident. But these two guys are so closely competitive today that the shootout is really looking like a good one.
When Mario emerged from that traffic, he was 8 seconds back. He's now a little over 9 seconds back. So he is not right this minute running quite as fast as Nigel Mansell.
Part of the reason, of course, is that Mansell has a clear racetrack in front of him. Mario still has some traffic to concern himself with.
Toronto, there's Paul Newman there on the left along with Carl Haas. Newman, by the way, bringing out a new line of his special food products with great acclamation. Toronto was Nigel's first mechanical DNF of the year. The question, always the rap on Nigel was he was hard on cars. I don't think so.
So Nigel